Hello, global people. Welcome back to Global Happenings Today, the home of political news and reports on events around the country. Now, fairly recently, the federal government has gazetted the judicial pronouncement that bandits should be prescribed as an insurgency group. And this has triggered a lot of calls from different quarters that some other groups should be enlisted same. And the person who is championing these is one of the Middle Belt governors who have felt the brunt of, Fulani headsmen in his hometown. We can still recall back in 2017 what happened where almost a whole community was being brought down. It was happening virtually on every day. We hear stories of Black Friday, Black Sunday in that particular state. And ever since that time, the governor has not rested. For one day, we're not talking about activities of Fulani headsmen and how the federal government, precisely Muhammadu Buhari-led government, has not done anything to see how they can stop the activities of these men parading themselves as cattle breeders. But at the same time, they are doing a lot of harm to his own people. And when the federal government, accepted the judicial pronouncement to make bandits, to make them an insurgency group, that same governor came up again and sent out 3 or 4 names of different groups belonging to the Fulanis that they must also be considered to be an insurgency group, because virtually everything happened around is traceable to them. Now that group has come out, talking about the Fulani-led group, has come out to cry for mercy from Buhari. You'll get to hear the content of the news and what Nigerians have to say in that respect. But before we give you full details of the news, if not subscribed to our channel, kindly hit the red subscribe button and also the bell icon so that you get notification anytime we publish our videos. Now, according to the news, the leader of MACBAN has insisted that it is not an insurgency organization. Meitiala Cattle Breeder Association's National Secretary Baba Ngelzama said the federal government should shun the call to proscribe the group. Recall that the Benue State Governor Samuel Ortom has urged the federal government to declare MACBAN, Meitiala Kutaho, and FONAP as an insurgency group. But Ngelzama maintained that MACBAN has contributed to peace building in the state. In a statement he signed, the MACBAN secretary noted that the group has spared no effort in helping the people of the state to live in peace with the pastoralists. According to Ngelzama, he said, "We are not at all surprised at the recent call by Governor Samuel Ortom of Benue State for the proscription of our association MACBAN, going by his antecedent, whose stocks in trade is fanning the embers of a hatred between peaceful Nigerians that have been living in peace for many centuries. We therefore call on the federal government to ignore these unpatriotic calls by a wayward governor who is hell-bent on putting this country into unnecessary crisis. MACBAN is not and will never be an insurgency organization. We are fully registered with the regulatory agencies with clear vision and mission to foster peaceful coexistence to our teeming members, as well as serving humanity positively." Quite interesting. And the big question that Nigerians are asking right now is, why the fear? Why the fear? Already, there are a lot of things pointing towards that direction, that there had been 1 or 2 supports, when these guys are messing up this, a great deal. Now, why Ortom is hell-bent on this happening is because of the lackadaisical attitude of some of these groups whenever the issue of the invasion of these Fulani headsmen into community takes place. You realize that they seems not to be talking. Their reaction is very low. And sometimes, even when they talk loud and they want the federal government to do something about it, they do it as if it's a casual gist. They may talk, but they do not take any move towards correcting the ill. And when that happens, one begins to wonder, are you sure you're really interested in solving this problem? Because problem solving is not all about talking. You sit down, deliberate over it, and actions are taken. Put up strategy to ensure that actions are taken, and that action, if it resolves to peace, especially in the case of chaos like this, or trouble between two communities, or trouble between two ethnic groups like this, when you put up the structure or the strategy to ensure that peace is established, the next thing you will do is sustainability. To sustain it, whatever it takes to sustain it, you keep pushing for it. You let the people, educate them on the need for them to live in peace with their host community. I mean, before the advent of the current administration, these guys were normal guys to Nigerians. They littered everywhere with their own cows, and sometimes they misbehave, they are corrected, they take corrections. We didn't see them those days coming with, some equipment like that. Yeah, they normally go with their daggers and all of that. But you don't see them with all of that. And they've been around. All of a sudden, they changed I don't know what happened. But from all indication, it seems as if their orientation has changed. They do not see Nigeria again as a country that is stuck with multiple ethnic groups. They feel that the country belongs to them, and no matter what, they need to get a chunk of the country to be their own. And even looking at the business they do, how much tax have they paid with it? How much have they helped in solving economic situation? And I've been asking that question about tasking themselves of cattle and all of that. I don't know how that is done. Because if these guys are living in Nigeria, enjoying the infrastructures in the country, enjoying the security and everything, they are also expected to contribute a quarter, at least tax, coming from the sales of their beef. Now, the question is, what are the structures that the federal government have on ground to ensure that their sales of beef and all of that is being prorated and they pay taxes on them? A big question which have been ignored over time. Because, for them to be enjoying staying in any community, they have to also contribute. Not by giving someone a small portion of the meat. Say, the community people can eat the meat. Mbanu. You pay and you make Nigeria understand this is how much that we have gotten, that you guys are getting from us in terms of proceed to help in the provision of key infrastructures in Nigeria. Now, for example, if you look at the Niger Delta, you realize that they have a particular natural resource and they have what they are doing. Now, what they are doing, this is how much it is generating, which is provable in the Federation accounts. The same thing goes for the Ndibos, for the Southeasterners. They are fully into businesses. These businesses are being registered, and they also pay taxes on these their businesses. If you go to different places in Nigeria, you realize that these Ndibos, they have a particular place where they do their sales. And the government go in there on a monthly basis or maybe on a yearly basis to get reasonable amount of money from them. Some of them do a lot of export, some do a lot of import, and they pay VAT on everything that they are, selling and all of that. So you can say this is how much we have gotten from the sales of spare parts. This is how much we have gotten as taxes from those who sell spare parts, those who sell clothes, those who do business of import and export and all of that. But how many people can attest to how much is paid as tax by these other guys? We can't even prove it. It's food for thought. But then the focus here is the issue of them being proscribed. Why are they crying out if their people are doing the normal thing? Because for the government to make them sit straight and do the right thing, we need to call them, and the government needs to call them and look at their vision and look at what they stand to represent, especially when this issue, and how much control they have over their people. Because this will go an extra mile to stem down this issue of insecurity. We have been hearing of what has been happening in, for example, areas like Abuja-Kaduna Road, that these guys have been involved in all manner of negative activities, the kidnapping and all of that. Now, how much control do you have on these people? If you claim that you are an organization that hosts all these people, how much control do you have on them? I feel that the federal government at this point need to need to look through their own activities once again. And if it is needful for them to be proscribed, at least to restore peace back to Nigeria, why not go ahead and do it? At least so that we can enjoy the security that Nigerians have been enjoying thus far. That's where I'd like to leave it. Go to our comment section. What's your standpoint on this? Let's